this. It's also National Model T Day, so buckle up for a fancy ride.
Do Model Ts even have seatbelts? That's the question. Cody Stark is in Auburn, and he can answer that for us this morning.
Well, let's ask Gary. Do Model Ts have seatbelts?
No.
Do Model Ts have cup holders?
No.
Do they have a surround sound stereo system?
Oh, yeah, they have that. You hear everything around you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You have volunteered to let me drive your Model T.
I have,
Is there
yeah.
anything I should know about driving a Model T?
Just if you get out of control, pull the emergency brake. That's all.
That's how I live my life, brother.
Yeah, there you go. They're fairly easy to drive. It's just like driving a modern car. You just got 3 pedals on the floor you got to contend with, and that's it.
Well,
So,
I've only got 2 feet, though.
you gotta move fast on it. So.
What is it about these cars that have kept people's love all these years? What is it about?
It's just the simplicity of them and how fun they are to drive, and everywhere you go, people want to know about them.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun to talk to different people, and you meet a lot of people.
We were talking about this when you guys pull into gas stations
Yeah.
or you pull in the grocery store or whatever.
Yeah.
People just flock to you.
They do. They really do. You know, people love to watch them and take pictures of them, and it's a treat. It really is.
Oh, it's so fun. I'm having a blast with you guys. I want to talk to Eric real quick, because Eric just told me a story about Henry Ford and the whole process that blew my mind, my friends. So Henry, he had control of the entire process.
All right, well, when this particular car was built, Ford Motor Company was still using suppliers for various different kinds of parts because he didn't have the entire manufacturing process down. He bought engines and transmissions from the Dodge brothers. He bought frames, and he bought lights from E&J. But like I say, he had to use lots of different suppliers. Now, the Dodge brothers, they built almost all the Ford mechanical parts. And come along around 1913, Henry decided he wanted to own the Ford Motor Company outright. So he had to spend a fortune to buy out all of his investors that invested with him in about 1903 to 1906, 7, something like that. And the Dodge brothers used that money to go start their own motor company, the Dodge Motor Company.
Okay.
It's still in business. So Henry consolidated all of his resources, and by the mid-1920s, he owned the entire process from raw materials to the finished product. He owned the forests where they grew the trees for the wooden parts of the car. He owned the mines where they mined the coal and the iron ore to make steel. He owned the factories that made the glass. The only thing he didn't own was the tires, and he bought those from his friend named Harvey Firestone. But anyway, so he had the process so completely economical and efficient that he owned everything from raw materials to finished product, and it got to the point where while everybody else's cars were getting more expensive, his were getting cheaper.
Yeah.
He sold volume, not price. In 1924, you could buy a Model T Roadster for $260.
Wow.
And at that point, the people that worked on the assembly line could afford to buy one of the products they were building.
Yeah.
And Ford paid his people the highest salary in the industry. And because of that, he was able to attract the best workers, the most loyal, and the highest talent. But like I say, in 1924, Ford owned everything.
He owned everything.
He owned the entire process. He owned the ships that brought the iron ore to his mills. He owned the railroads that brought his raw materials into his factory. He owned everything.
That is wild. Thank you, Eric, for sharing that with me, man. Okay, coming up, I gotta get my lesson, and then we're gonna go for a ride. We're gonna go take these Model Ts over the Forest Hill Bridge. Should be amazing. Back to you guys.
Cody,
What a way to drive.
you can drive a manual transmission, right, Code?
Yes.
Okay, you'll be fine.
Theoretically,
You'll be-
yes.
It's probably been a while.
What about
Muscle memory, I should be able to do
Exactly.
it.
What
Yeah.
about a 100-year-old one? We'll find out. Thank you, Code.